anyway, the public is clapping, the people who are on the other side of those cameras, because this was something that they wanted. It's something that their representatives have heard over and over again for many years, and finally we got to vote on it, and it was a real accomplishment. I want to thank in particular some of the members of the Hispanic Republican Conference who called this press conference together along with the larger Republican Conference. Let me recognize those members. First of all, you all got to hear from Jose Aliceda. Great story. I'm always impressed by your family. I know your brother well, and he'd be very proud of you, even though I know you all like to pick on each other. He'd be very proud of you. You spoke from the heart, and I'm very pleased that you got to tell your story, and we got to hear that. Representative Dee Margo from El Paso. Representative Raul Torres from Corpus Christi. Jerry Gonzalez from Round Rock. John Garza. And we have other voting members that I'd like to recognize: Connie Scott, Rodney Anderson, Todd Hunter, Jim Lantrop, Ken Legler, and the 30-plus other members of the Hispanic Republican membership. Thank you very much. Well, let me tell you, you heard a lot of issues last night, and one of the things that struck me that I want to talk about was there was a lot of complaints about that the real fraud in Texas is in ballot by mail. Unfortunately, when it comes to that sort of bills, Democrats haven't filed any. They filed 0. On the other hand, members of the Hispanic Republican Conference have filed over 30 bills dealing with the issue of voter fraud, as have other Republican members. This is important because although last night was the beginning of an important process, the process still has much more to go. And those other bills will be coming up for hearing next week. Representative Taylor has kindly put those on. Mr. Chairman has my back because 3 of those bills are mine and they're being heard in his committee, and we're going to move forward with all the other issues of voter fraud that are a concern to our public and our population. With that, let me recognize Stephanie Carter. Representative Harless is not here at the moment, but Representative Carter is going to get up and say a few words. But again, I'm going to step down now and let others speak, but I want to thank again Representative Harless for doing a great job. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Chairman. What a great day for Texas. The passage of this legislation is a huge accomplishment for not just our chamber, but for the citizens of our great state. In 2008, a precinct in my very own district received a voter turnout of more than 100%. That's a problem, and it was probably because of voter fraud. What this legislation does is help ensure that that doesn't happen again, and help ensure that our citizens are getting their ballots cast equally and correctly. It's imperative that we maintain the integrity of our electoral process. Our elections must remain free and fair. And what Senate Bill 14 does is say, yes, our elections are free and fair. And it will help accomplish our goal. Thank you so much to our wonderful chair of the House Republican Caucus, Larry Taylor, whom I'd like to recognize for all of his
Thank you. Good morning. We did have a long, healthy debate yesterday. A number of good amendments were offered and were accepted onto that bill. This is, as has already been said, an important first step in making sure that voters of Texas know their elections are secure and that their vote is going to count, and that no other person votes is not supposed to vote. This is just one part of the pie, the piece of the puzzle, so to speak, is the voter fraud at the polls. We know that mail-in ballots are a real problem. Everyone acknowledges that. You heard that many times yesterday on the floor from Democrats and currently serves as chairman of the Elections Committee. We will be hearing at least 7 bills, I believe, next week on that very issue, the mail-in ballot. We've already heard some voter registration issues, voter registrars, issues as far as educating those folks. You know, because people are being disenfranchised. If somebody screws up your voter registration, you can't vote, you've been disenfranchised. So it's important to have those folks trained up to do that job well. But we celebrate with all Texans in this victory, because this is a victory for our system of government, that people do go and they select their leaders, and they know that they're doing it fairly, and they're not being cheated out of that vote. But we're going to be addressing those other issues, and I look forward to having Democrats join with us to make sure that all Texans have a good and fair election, and their vote does count. And with that, we'll open it up for questions.